Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, let's wait. I can only see four people who have joined. Maybe you can wait couple of minutes. I know less people join these days, but let's still wait couple of minutes in case people are on the way. In the meantime, if anyone has anything to discuss or clarify, you can do so. Otherwise, we'll start in maybe few next few minutes.
Yeah, just like I had asked the in the forum for the image of India, like for calculating that area, but they didn't respond. There was no response.
Okay. Maybe then you can try with some other image, which is kind of a little more like don't go for India. Try to get a very simple image, like maybe just with two colors. You can get some rectangle or something that is half red, half blue. I'm just saying a random example. Basically, a very simple image. You can even make it black and white. Check if the code is correctly calculating for that image. And then you check for your India image. That is one way in which you can clarify. So do you get what I'm saying? So this picture is little complicated, right? You have this map and everything. So try to get a even simpler image where it is just a simple shape like square or rectangle or something. I'm sure you can find it, or you can even make on paint or something. Just make a small rectangle, make a rectangle, make half of it or one third, one fourth of it one color, and check if your code is correctly identifying. If it's not correctly identifying for that image, that means code is issue. If for that image it is correctly identifying and for this image it is not, that means the image is the issue. So you can kind of differentiate it. Do you understand?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you can try this out. Try making a very simple image, and then you can see, then you can pinpoint if the issue is really with the image or with code. Right now, we don't know, right, which is the part which is causing the issue. So once you pinpoint, then we can decide what to do next. And okay,
Yeah.
fine. Okay, fine. I guess we can start the class. I can see it's 6:05. So I'll just turn on my camera. So let me just open the today's share my screen. Okay, so welcome everyone. We are reaching the end of your course, and at the same time we are also reaching the end of these problem solving sessions. So by now we have been having these sessions for past 10 weeks, so you should be knowing the drill. These are basically sessions where we together try to solve problems and also do a few programs, so that you can have a practice where you're actually doing some hands on exercises. Of course, you are expected to do hands-on exercises while watching the videos. Also, you are expected to, sit and try the codes yourself. But in case you don't, this is the 2 hour slot where you are guaranteed, or I hope you are actually doing and getting your hands with the code. And it's very important to do that because, as I've been saying from the first class, for coding, you can't just read or you can't just watch people do it. You have to get into it. So, like, when you get into a code, when someone runs it, it looks very simple. When we try to reproduce that result, that is when we find out so many small caveats or small clarifications that those people might have already worked out on their own and had not mentioned to you. So it's always, if you want to understand a code, the best way is to actually write it or run it yourself, right? Even if you understand the logic of a code, so there's two parts of it. You have to understand the logic of the code, which means that when a problem is given, you have to understand how to break it down into a code, into a set of instruction that you can give a computer. The other is, of course, getting the syntax right. So syntax is basically the language or the grammar of every coding language. So syntax of Python may be different from syntax of C or Fortran, but the logic will always be the same. So for both of these things, the only way to improve, or the only way in which, yeah, in the only way you can improve yourself is through practice. So I hope these sessions that we've been having for last 10 weeks have been helping you. So let's just go into the class. As always, you can mail me anytime. So this next week will be the last session, but please feel free to mail me also if you have clarifications and doubts. And on my website, I've made all the recordings, slides, and also the programs available. I hope you all are, able to access the actual .py files, the Python files which I use in the class. I have uploaded on the Google Drive. So I think that's a very good resource, and I think you should be, trying to use those resources, not by simply running it on your system, but by trying to reproduce the Python program your own, and you can compare it with the result. Okay, so in these week's lectures, you use the Selenium library. So this is about the week 11 lectures. So you use the Selenium library to talk about, browser automation kind of programs. So that is where you're actually using Python to, interface with your browser or with an app or something like that. So you have something called an API, which you use. And you also saw some calendar programs, which, some interesting patterns that you can decode using a calendar. So I think we can straight away go into doing some questions. So as usual, please let me just open the chat on my other device so I can monitor it. So as usual, please put your answers in the chat so that I can check what will be the thing. Okay. So I'm just going to join on my phone as well so that just give me a second so that I can monitor the chat. So let me just switch off the volume here. Yeah. Okay. So here is the first question. This is a straightforward question. So this is about your Selenium library, which you have seen this week. Please put your answers in the chat, everybody. Okay, I see two people say D. Any other answers? Okay, one person says A. Others? Any other answers? I can see three answers in the chat. Okay, please interact, guys. It will be good. But yeah, okay. Thanks to those who answered. The answer is all of the above. So, of course, Selenium is used for web browser automation. But this WebDriver and keys class are particular parts of Selenium that you can use to, interface with the web browser, and also, have some keystrokes for the keyboard interaction. So again, this is for browser automation, right? So that is the answer. Okay, let's go to the next question. So, which of the following tasks in WhatsApp can be automated using Selenium? This is a multiple select question, so there may be multiple options which are right. Okay, someone says all the options, others. Okay, I see two people say all of the options. Others? All. Okay, good. So the answer is all of them. So you can actually, all of these tasks are such that you can automate them using Selenium. So, if you think about how those spam messages come that are sent to so many people at once, this may be one of the reasons, there is some automated way in which it is being done. Okay. Next is this question. So this is a, read the given code and identify the correct statement. Okay, so here you are importing some particular library and there's a function which does something and it is, returning some value for a particular, returning a value of a particular variable. So the question is basically asking you to figure out what this function is doing. Please read the code carefully and you can put your answers in the chat. Okay, one person says D, others. Okay, one person says B, one other person says B. Other answers, anyone? Okay, C. Okay, B, C, D, I can see all three answers. Any other answers? Okay, I think we can move to the answer. So the answer is actually D. So here you can see that A and B are kind of the same option. That kind of tells you already that, there are multiple correct answers because, basically it's tell both the statements A and B are telling you the same thing, that this function is printing for you the list of all time zones in Asia. And of course the thing is that time zones is a dynamic thing, so the it might slightly change if we use different versions because these clocks are always getting updated with better and better precision. So that's why the version of this time zone module, Python time zone module, also matters because there may be very small variations that have happened as well. Okay, so this is the answer. I hope everyone's okay with it. I'm going to the next question. Okay, so this is a numerical answer type question. So you have to answer with a number. So here basically, again, we have function does something and they have asked what is the particularly the output of when I run this, does something of 2022 to 29. So please put your answers in the chat. What is the output of this code when I run this code with these inputs? 2000. What is the output of this function when I run with the input 2022, 2 and 20? So again, it's helpful to first identify what the code is doing, and then we can see what our input falls under, right? What category our input is actually uh, tracing. Any answers from any of you? Any options? No, no, there are no options. This is numerical answer type. So the answer is a number. So what will the number be? So you can see that the function returns integer of something, right? So it should be a number. So what will that number be? By looking at this expression, you can already understand that there are two, oh, sorry, there are two options, right? I all accidentally showed the answer. But basically, by looking at this expression, you know that there are two options. Well, I showed the answer that it was zero. So maybe you can go to the answer. Okay, can anyone explain, because no one has answered, can anyone explain why it is zero? It's not one. Exactly. So it's not a leap year. So can you explain what this code is actually doing? What is this function actually doing? When you say it's not a leap year, why is that relevant to this code? What is this particular code actually doing? So those of you who answered, right or wrong, if you answered, that means you have identified something about what the code is doing. So what is this code doing? Yeah, this function is giving range of dates in a month, but that's not what it is returning, right? It's returning, as you very correctly said, it's returning zero. So that means that, yeah, it's not okay. The function is checking for the range of dates in a month, and it is checking if the date that you're providing as input falls in that range or not. So that is the idea. So can anyone tell me what this function month range does? Or what does it return? What does it return? Month range, what does it return? Number of days in a month. Well, it does not really. It does not really return the number of days in a month. In a way, you're right, but you have to be a little more specific. Month range actually returns to you two values. So suppose I can show you now. You can see my terminal, right? So if I take my terminal, sorry, I spelled it. So what is it? Calendar dot month range. Let's give 2024 and this month, right, which is October. So you can see that it actually returns for me two numbers, right? It returns the first day of the month, which is always 1, and it returns the last day of the month, which is 31, because October has 31 days. Okay, so it does not really return the number of days in the month, it returns the first date and the last date of the month. So that's why in this function, you can see that we are actually checking whether the day we are giving as input falls within one and variable of one. So why do we have to specify variable of one? Because variable has two values. One is the first day, second is the last day. So we are checking whether, basically here we are checking if the day lies within the month or not, if it's within first day and last day. As you all know, and as Vikram correctly pointed out, in 2022 February, we only have 28 days. So 29 does not fall within one or this, one and the variable. So that means this will return a value of 0, because because this is a false statement, and that's why we get the answer to be 0. Is this okay with everyone? Does everyone understand this program? So month range actually returns to you the first day and the last day of the month. Okay, fine. If you have any doubts, please stop me. Let's go to the next question for now. Okay. So again, this is a numerical answer type. So yeah, it's a numerical answer type. So again, you have a function which is doing something. And here a file is involved called years.txt. So this years.txt is given to include such a number of things. So please put in what the answer should be. Okay, so someone has asked a question. So before going to this, let's go this. So what is meant by variable of 1? So I showed you, right? So do you understand this? That there are two values. This is the first day of the month and this is the last day of the month. If I want to call something, if I want to call this number, how will I call it? Suppose I have something like x is equal to this thing. Suppose I have this. So then if I print x, this is this. So if I want to access the first value of x, what will I do? If I want to access the first value, if I want to access 1, what will I give? Exactly. So if I give x of 0, I'll get 1. If I give x of 1, I'll get 31. So this is not like an array. It is an array. It's a tuple actually. But yeah, the way that you index a tuple is always correct. So it does not return the, where does it return the first day of the month? Oh, I don't understand the question. It returns whether the day is inside the month or not. That's what this function is doing. It nowhere does it return the first day of the month. Just you please mute yourself. I'm muting you. It is distracting. So yeah, I didn't really understand your question. In this question, we are not returning the first day of the. That's what I was trying to say. We are checking whether day we are providing is within the range of. Okay, you're saying this month range function is also returning the first day of the month. That I don't know why they wrote it like that. Probably the idea is, they wanted the first day and the last day for something. But yeah, I have no idea why the code is written like that. This is a built-in function from the module calendar. This I didn't write or you didn't write, right? So that's just how it works. Maybe calendar is having another function where it is just returning the last day that I don't know. I don't know all the functions which are built into the module. It's a good point, but this is how they developed it. We are using it. So when we are using it, we can't just put variable here because they do return two values. So we have to be specific about which value we want to access here. That's why we have to give variable of 1. Is that okay? Yeah, I don't know why the people who developed this library, why they made it, sorry, why they made it in such a way that this one happened. But yeah, this is what we are working with. So that's why we have to go with what like that. Okay. How many functions we should learn for the exam? That I'm not sure. I don't know. As I said before, I don't set the exam paper or anything. But I think a good portion, I think you should at least be familiar with all the functions that we discuss in the assignment problems. So both in your assignment problems and by these assignment problems which we are doing in these problem solving sessions also, you come across some functions, right? At least you should know those functions properly. I think that will be a good thing, good check. I don't think they will ask you something so ultra specific that you won't know. That's not a good test of logic, right? When you're going to write a programming exam, the test should be of your logic. It should not be of your memory power, right? Because as I showed you many times, every module has a documentation page. If you're going to be a real programmer, you're just going to go and refer to those documentation pages instead of just memorizing functions. That's not how anyone does programming in the real world. It's a very absurd way to do. So my point is that try to be familiar. That will automatically come. Certain functions will automatically be familiar with you because you're using them again and again. Like certain NumPy functions, plotting functions, I am familiar with because I use again and again. So point is that at least be familiar with those functions which have been mentioned in your classes or these assignments. That will be a good enough baseline. But even if you can't remember everything, don't worry. The test of a good programmer is not how many functions can you remember. The test of a good programmer is, do you know first of all how to how to approach a program, how to write logic, how to figure out the logic of a program. And the second thing is, when you're stuck somewhere, do you know how to debug? Instead of just going and telling someone this is not working and giving up, you should know how to debug. You should know what to search. Basically, even searching, Google searching, you might laugh, Google searching is also something that people have to learn. People don't know how to search exactly for the things they want. That is a big problem. You'll find that many people ask question, but that can be easily Googleable. I understand that there are a lot of inbuilt functions. That's why it's a good idea to do as many programs and as many problems as possible. The more you do something, the more you get used to it, right? When you started studying your multiplication tables, you would have been like, there are a lot of numbers to remember. But today, if I ask you 5 into 6, you will instantly be able to tell because you had this practice of it so much that you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to think 5 into 6 means 6 plus 6 plus 6 5 times like that. So that the same way, this is also a skill where with practice you'll get better. Don't worry, don't study for the exam or in that sense. I don't think they are going to, um, I don't know how the exam pattern is going to be. As I said, I am an external person who is here to help you. But I don't think, based on the kind of questions they give you and based on the assignments they give you, I don't think the issue, the idea is to kind of give you something which is unsolvable. Okay. So you will always be able to logically figure it out somehow. Like even here, you can kind of figure out, right? You see that there is a variable of one. You see, this is called a range. So it returns a range. Range means there are two values. So like that, from the context clues also you will be able to figure out. Like here, they are not asking you to write what does month range do, right? You can guess also by seeing this that, yeah, okay, month range means it should be returning two values. The fact that we are indexing it by one means that variable is not a single value, it has at least two values. That must be the range of the month. So like that, you will be able to guess. You should be able to logic, you should be able to use your brain also. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, don't worry about the exam. Just practice properly. Go do your exam sincerely. I'm sure it'll all be okay. Fine. So these sessions are practice for your exam only. So don't take too much tension about it. Don't focus on, again, programming is not something where you focus on memorizing. I think that is not the correct approach to it. So yeah, don't need to do that. Okay. Anyway, so this is the next question. So here again, the code is doing something particularly. And here text file is involved called years.txt. And this is the content of that text file, years.txt. So it is a series of numbers, a series of years, right? As you can see from the name. So again, what is the output of this code? Okay, so what is the output of this code? You just let me know. So again, just figure out what this code does. Okay, someone says two. Others, please participate as well. I can see that there are like 10, 12 people in the chat, but I only ever see 2, 3 people answering every time. So please try to answer the questions. This is good practice for your exam and for, Python understanding in general. Because not only writing your own code but decoding other people's code is also important part of programming. You one day you might get some random code, you will have to understand what that code is doing. So this is good program practice for that. So again, just figure out what this function check something does. With that itself, you will get your idea or your answer. I only see one answer in the question. Okay, fine. Okay, one person has identified what this code is doing. Very good. The function checks for the leap year. Correct. So what should then be the output of the code? If I run this code, what should I get? Okay, someone says 2. So I think we can go to the answer. You guys have figured it out. The answer is 2. The answer is 2 because there are two leap years. So 2000 and 2004 are two leap years of so that's why that's you can see that it sums 1 for every year where this turns out this turns out to be true. So in all of these there are two leap years and that's why the answer is true. Okay, so this is a condition for leap year. Either it should be divisible by 4 and 100 or it should be divisible by 400. So this is the condition. Okay, sorry, it should be divisible by 4 but not 100, or it should be divisible by 400. This is the condition. So since this is satisfied, then it returns true. So every time this returns true, it adds 1. So that's why it's just basically counting how many leap years are there in this text file. So again, in this function, for example, there are no inbuilt functions, right? There are only the fact that you should understand what this code is doing. So most of the questions are like that. So don't worry about the inbuilt functions too much. And I'm saying that even if you don't know what the inbuilt functions are, usually the name and the code will give you enough context clues for you to understand what it is actually doing. Okay, this is the next question. Once again, we have some code which is doing something based on this this thing. What's it called? Calendar module. Sorry. So, what is the value of this expression? Integer of this. So, read the question very carefully. So again, identify what count something is doing. So count something clearly counts something. So what is that something you identify? And based on that, give your answer. Any answers? I don't see any answers yet. Okay. Has anyone figured out what this code is doing? What is it counting? What this function is counting? Has anyone figured out? Does it? Okay. Is that right? Does it count Fridays? Read the code again. You're partially correct. Does not really count Fridays. It counts something else. No, it does not count number of weeks. Fridays is closer. Read the code carefully. If it was number of weeks, why will this condition come? Number of weeks is fixed in a year, right? It's always 52. So why will this condition come if it's number of weeks? Read the condition carefully, what has been done. Any other answers? Either answer to the question or what is this code doing? Any answers? Anyone else? Okay, right. So I think you have conveyed it in a little complicated way, but yeah, correct. So the point is that this counts the number of Friday the 13th in a year. So can you see that there is, it is checking for the day of the week in the 13th of every month. So you can see month is from range 1 to 13. 13 is because, range always doesn't consider the last value. So that's why. So not number of Friday the 13th in every month. That's wrong. The number of Friday the 13th in every year, because it goes through all the months, right? Because here you can see 1 to 12, right? Because in range, if you give 13, it doesn't consider 13. So it's checking each month, the January to December, how many Friday the 13th are there in a particular year, not in a particular month. Okay. So do you guys have you heard about this Friday the 13th? It's considered to be like an unlucky day, or many horror films are set on that day and all that. So they are just checking how many such Friday the 13th are there in every year. So now that we have figured out what the function does, that's not the answer. The answer is what is the value of this expression. So I've told you what the function does. I hope you all understand that this counts number of Friday the 13th in a year. How many Fridays fall on the 13th of any given month in a given year. Okay. So any month. That's why we are checking for all the months. So now can you give me the answer for the expression, which is actually the question? So now you understand the logic, right, of what is the function we have figured out. So try to give me what does this expression return for me. Okay. Okay. Someone says 0. Any other answers? Any other answers? I only see one answer, that's zero. Any other answers in the chat? Okay. So I think both the answers have come 0 and 1, because, as you know, if you have not realized yet, this is a Boolean expression, right? So it's either going to give me a 0 or a 1. So one person has said 0, one person has said 1. One more person, please answer so that I can get a majority. At least one person answer what you think it is, and then we can go to the answer. I've also told you what are the possible answers. I've told you what is the function. I think everything I've told you except the answer. So please, like, one more person can just, at least one more person answer, and then we can go to the solution. This is a Boolean, right? This is checking if something is equal to something else. That will be true or false. So this is a Boolean, but then it's converted to an integer. Point is that it will give 0 or 1. Okay, thank you. One more person has said 1. So we at least have a majority. Does anyone else want to answer, or we can go to the solution? I can give one more minute if someone is still answering. All right, I don't think so. So, okay, so the answer is actually 1. So again, this is basically counting how many Friday the 13th are there in a month. So, sorry, in a year, not a month. So here, basically, the what this function is doing is it's a Boolean which checks whether the number of Friday the 13th in 1996 and the number of Friday the 13th in 2024 are the same. If you want to understand how to calculate the Friday of the 13th in a given month, like, there is a very nice web page that I found where you can actually see. So essentially, you can see that there is at least 1 to 3 Friday the 13th in a given year, right? There is at least one and no more than three Friday the 13th during a given year. For us, a simpler way to check this is, we can just check what is the first day of the month of each, first day of the year for each of these cases. If both of the 1st of January fall on the same day, that means both of them will have the same Friday the 13th, right? Both of these are leap years, and both of these, if they have, so both of these are leap years, so we don't have to worry about anything else. If they both have the same day for 1st January, then they have the same number of Friday the 13th. Does everyone agree with this logic? Okay, good. So we can just quickly pull up our calendar right now. I'm pulling up calendar, but you know that it's very easy to calculate what is the 1st of January of a given year, right? So for example, the 1st of January of this year was Monday. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Maybe it will be useful for your exam. So what is that? So what was 1st of January of 2023? Does anyone know? Without even checking, you can actually find out. If 1st of January this year was Monday, what was it last year? 2023, what was it? I'm just telling you how to do this so that if you get it in the exam and you don't have a calendar, you can still do it. So I'm just trying to tell you that. Right now we can do with calendar, but let's try to do it even without a calendar, right? So 1st of January this year is a Monday. Okay, we can see that here. 1st of January this year is Monday. What was 1st of January of 2023? Just by looking at this, you can tell actually. There is a pattern that it follows. You can think about maybe your birthday. Your birthday fell on particular day this year, means last year it would have fallen on some other day. What is that day? So it's a shift, right? Because there are 365 days in a year and that is not divisible by 7. So there will always be a shift. Does anyone know how to do? Yeah, exactly. So if you're going back in time, if 1st of January this year was Monday, then in 2023, It was actually a Sunday. The only catch is if any year is a leap year, then you have to account for the extra day. So, for example, this year 2024 is a leap year, right? So, if 1st of January this year is Monday, what will 1st of January 2025 be? Remembering that this is a leap year. So, normally we have to go forward a day, but because there's a leap day, which is 29th February, we have to add an extra day. So it will be Wednesday next year, and you can see that that is actually correct, right? So like this, you can calculate. For now, for ease of time or for want of time, let's just check 2024 and 1996. So let's go back. So 1st of January this year is Monday. Keep that in mind. I'm going back to 1990. Shit. Okay. I went back too much. Okay, so you can see that 1996 also 1st of January was a Monday. It was also a leap year. So that means that whatever pattern was followed in 1996, same pattern was followed in 2024. Do you all agree? Great. So that means that if there was some number of Friday the 13th in 1996, the same number of Friday the 13th should have been in 2024. Again, this question is not asking you to calculate how many Friday the 13th there are. That is not the question. The question is to check whether the number of Friday the 13th in 96 and the number of Friday the 13th this year are the same. And we just checked and found that it is indeed the same. Do you all follow? That is why the answer is 1, because this is actually a true statement. Okay. Okay, I think you all follow. If you have any doubts, please let me know. How to check without calendar? So that's what I just told you, right? You know, 1st of January of this year is Monday. So you can calculate, right? How far is 1996? That's why I spent that whole time to tell you. If 1st of January this year is Monday, then in 2023 it is Sunday. In 2022 it was Saturday. In 2021 it was Friday. 2020 you have to be careful because that was a leap year. So like this you can calculate. That's what I was
So,
explaining in the beginning. Huh.
yeah, so in 2020, like, how do we be careful? Like, it will be like the same order followed, or one day less or more?
Tell
How
me,
we
right?
will.
You tell me, you think about it. There is one more day in 2020. Correct?
Okay,
It
yeah,
will add one day, no?
It'll add one day. So when
okay,
we go back,
yeah,
we have to go back 2 days. One day because 365 there's always a shift, and one day because of the leap day.
okay, yeah,
Got it?
understood. Yeah,
Yeah. So that's why next year, this year it's Monday, right? January 1st is Monday. Next year it will be Wednesday. It will not be Tuesday. It will be Wednesday because this year was leap year. So there was extra day in between. So the sequence has an extra day. Got it?
yeah, got it. Yeah,
Okay, great. So these are some things that you can keep in mind so that if you don't have calendar also you should be able to do. So like again, you can see the type of question they're asking, right? They are not asking you to calculate how many Friday 13th is there in a year. That will be little difficult to do without calendar. It might take time. But this kind of thing we can do a little more faster because if we know that both of the years are starting on the same day and they are both leap years, then we know that they follow same sequence. So that's all we had to check. We don't have to actually calculate how many Friday 13th is there in a year, which might have taken us more time. That is also doable, but it will take us more time. We have to go from January to December and check all the months. Whereas here, if we just check the first day of every year, we can get it. Okay, so just remember that 2024 started on a Monday. From that, you should be able to go forward or backward fairly easily. Just keeping in mind that there's leap years are there. When leap years are there, you always have a plus or minus one extra because of the leap day. Okay, I don't think there are any more questions. We can go to the next question. Again, this is another question where something's being counted and they want you to return the count of something. So here they're asking you to return count of, or please give the value of count of 1990 to 2024. So again, first, good idea to identify what is this actually counting? What's this function counting? After that, you can understand what is the value that you should get. Yes, counting leap years. Good. Counts the leap years in the range. Yeah, okay, very good. So you have identified that this counts the leap years in a range which we are provided by the user. So right now what you have to do is check what how many leap years lie between the range that is given. So please check it out and let me know. Okay, okay, I can see that two people say 9. One person is typing. I'll wait in case more people are answering. 9. Okay, great. So a lot of people say 9. The answer is 9. Very good. So here you have to be very careful that 2024 is counted or not. You have to check. So 1992, 96, 2000, 2004, 8, 12, 16. 20, 24. So 24 is also counted. So here you can see that when we give range, you're actually giving e plus 1. So that this number 24 is also counted. Suppose we had not given this e plus 1, then because range does not consider the last value, 24 would not have been counted and it would have just been 8. Okay. So very good that you all identified 9 correctly. Okay, I'm just giving you a possibility if the range had not had this plus 1, then 2024 would not have been counted. So you have to be careful like that. Okay. Okay, fine. Very good. You all got that. So this is the next question, which is okay. So in addition to the first birthday celebration, yeah, answer is 9. Very good. In addition to first birthday celebration, Koreans often celebrate Mise Dol, which marks the celebration of the or completion of the 100th day after the baby's birth. This is considered a significant milestone. Given input birth date, the following code tries to calculate date of this day, but it might contain errors. So please identify the line number corresponding to the error. Okay, so as before, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see that the lines are there next to the code. If you don't feel like there is any error, please put -1. Any answers? Anyone in the chat? Okay. Someone says that there's no error in the code. Others? Sixth line contains error. Okay. Any other answers? I'll give 2 more minutes. Okay. I can see people are saying the sixth line. Any other answers? I can see two people are typing. I'll wait for that and then I'll give the answer. You can see. Okay, maybe there are no more answers. I don't see. I saw someone was typing in between, so I was waiting. So the answer is actually the sixth line, as some of you have said. So the reason for this is because there is a very small thing that you have to notice in the question, which is that you are marking the completion of the 100th day after the baby's birth, not the 100th day. So that is a difference, right? So if you have to complete 100 days, then you should actually go forward 100 days, not 99 days. So that is why the sixth line is different. If they are just asked for the 100th day, it's different. For example, if your birthday is this year and you are turning, say, 21, that means that you have completed 21 years and you are actually going to your 22nd year. Even though you have turned 21, you are going to your 22nd year, right? Because in your first year, you are 0 years old. So it's the same kind of logic. So you should actually go forward 100 days, not 99 days. That's why sixth line has an error. Okay, I hope you understood. So it is about that small clarification between completing 100 days and the 100th. Okay, so we can go to the next question. So time delta function goes forward certain number of days. So we can again can just check it for the correct definition, or if we want, we can try it out ourselves. That will be faster, I guess. So let's do something like this. I already imported calendar. So import is so I think you can tell, right? Delta time means it is going forward by some number of days. Let's just check if that is correct. Okay. So let's give 2024 10 7. Why? Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. This is from a new function. Let me just import data itself. Then this. Okay. Okay. If I give input date plus time delta of days equal to, you can see that I'm going 2 days in the future, right? I'm going to the 9th of October. I don't know what these two numbers are. For that, we can just give. So time delta basically gives you the difference between two time values. So if you give time delta of days something, then it will give you the thing. So that's how it works. Okay, so I guess the other part is seconds and microseconds are also there, and that's why it was not there. Okay. So basically, yeah, I mean, again, okay, you are saying that it's a new function which is not there in the video lectures, but now it is being introduced to you through the assignment, right? That's what I said. Try looking through all the assignment programs and problems, both. So this, I am solving the past year assignment, but also you have some assignment questions from this year. So the assignment questions are given to you. They may include extra things because during assignment you can very well look up, right? And even if you come across any function which you don't recognize, as I said before, uh, you can recognize it from the context. It was not there in this year's assignment, but it was there last year, and you're seeing it. The point is, you have seen it at some point, right? You have not seen it for first time in the exam. The point is that still from context you will be able to identify. So for example, you can see that time delta, the name itself tells you, right? Delta of x means what? Means a change in something. So we are adding something. Also the question also tells you that we want to go 100 days forward. So you can understand that this function is meant to add something to the time. So the idea is that you have to identify whether we should add 99 days or 100 days. Where can we get all the last year assignments? You're getting them right now, right? I am solving for you the last year assignments. All my questions of all my weeks have been from last year. The questions that I solved, including the programs, are the question that they gave last year in the assignments. So where if you the question doesn't make sense, that where can we get all the assignments? This is the last year's assignments. All of these slides and the program solutions have been uploaded in the Google Drive. You can go and check it there. Why? What is the issue with this? I don't know where you can access it directly, but what is the difference between accessing directly and accessing like this? These are also the same questions. I don't change the questions or the answers. Okay, I don't know about other past years. For us, it's only given to one past year. That's what I do. I have no idea how to access other past years and so on. I think that this year's and past last year's should be more than enough practice. If you want, you can go and check on YouTube for the PMRF lectures of last year, maybe. They would have solved the previous year's programs, right? So that also you can do. Okay, someone says you can purchase previous year assignments. I have no idea about all that. You guys can maybe discuss among yourself about that, where this can be purchased or not. But I can tell you that, for example, me this year in this semester, I am solving last year's assignments. Similarly, last year there would have been some other PMRF fellow who has solved the year previous assignment, right? If you can find their YouTube channel or something, you can find the lectures. Point is that don't get too worried about, I don't know this function or I don't know this. So the point is that try to understand from context. So you can see that this question is so long, right? This question has enough details that you can kind of work out what this function does. Every question will be like that. Okay. So you should apply your mind a little bit and try to find out the logic that way. Okay, so Vikram has provided some link where you can purchase the previous assignments. Maybe Vandana, you can look at that and that might be useful for you. Is there any other questions at this stage? Okay, fine. So let's go to the next question. So, okay, fine. Again, one more question of the same type. So here you have to find out what is the value returned by finds something. Okay. So again, this function finds something. Please find what this function does. So it will be a value, single value, which is returned by the function. Please identify it. Why the second day of the month? I don't understand. You're saying that it returns the second day of the month? Not exactly the second day of the month. First day of the month, sure, but the question is not to fine. I mean, it's written here first day also. Fine, yeah. It doesn't exactly return for you the first day of the month. It returns the first day of the month. Does it? Okay. Let me ask like this. Uh, what is X? Is it saying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Is it something like that? The value of X. Value of X is a number, right? 0 to 6. No. Yeah, 0 to 6. Not 0 for Monday. So, okay, I think you guys are kind of coming closer to where it is. So, why don't you just give me the answer of what this code should return? Like, you're all telling me what this code does, but can you tell me what is the value of find something 2000, 12? As you said, it is the day of the week of 12th of December 2000. So, the trick which I told you for 1st of January obviously works for any other date also. So if you want to know what is 12th of December of 2000, just quickly look at what is 12th of December of this year and then you can go back and find it. Or for now, you can also look it up on your phone. But in the exam and stuff, you can just simply go to 12th of December of this year and then you can go back and see. Okay, Vandana says one. Others? Okay, someone has said zero. Okay. And someone has said one. Okay, one person says two. Other answers? Someone is typing, so I'll wait. Okay, 120. Interesting. Okay, I don't see any other answers. Maybe we can go to the solution. So solution is 5. So those of you who gave your answers, can you give me a logic? What we found out that this finds out what is the first date of the month. So let's so it has to check for the first day of 12th of December 2000, right? So let's try and go and check again. December 2000, what was the first day of the month? Okay. So as you can see, December 2000, first day of the month is Friday. Why is there a plus one here? Because as you know, calendar.weekday returns 0 for Monday, 1 for, sorry, I don't know if it starts from Sunday or Monday. We can check very fast. Uh, 2024, today's date will give 10/7. So today is a Monday and it gives 0. So clearly this function gives 0 for Monday, 1 for Tuesday, 3 for Wednesday, so on till 6 for Sunday. But usually we count days starting from 1. So they, or basically they wanted to give it as 1 for Monday instead of 0 for Monday, which means Sunday is actually 0. So that's why even though it is returning 4, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because the plus 1 is there, the answer is 5. Does everyone understand why it's 5? So once again, this function just identifies what is the day of the first day of a certain month which we are giving, and it is giving you the answer not as a string like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's giving you the answer as a number, which is actually giving you starting with Monday as 1. So if Monday is 1, Friday is 5. What does mod 7 do? So what does percentage do in general? We have used it many times. What does it do? What does percentage do? Can anyone tell? It's called mod. Someone else tell? Not checking for day. What does percentage sign do? Just that. What does the percentage sign do? Gives a reminder. So what does mod 7 do? Gives a reminder, right? So what is the role of reminder here is that instead of what is 5 mod 7? What is 5 mod 7? It's 5, right? 7 into 0 is 0. So the reminder will be 5. Got it? So basically, when you go to Sunday, Sunday will be 6. So 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 mod 7 is 0. So instead of having the 0 starting from Monday, we are having the 0 starting from Sunday. That is what this is doing. This is shifting your scale so that instead of starting 0 from Monday, we are starting the 0 from Sunday. Does everyone understand? So be very careful. These are the ways in which they can trick you. So you know this function, and this is basically shifting your scale. Okay, that's what it's doing. Because you're not only adding 1, you're doing mod 7. Yeah, maybe I don't know what kind of questions will come in the exam. This can also come. I have no idea what your paper pattern or anything is like. You should probably ask your other TAs. As I said, my job is I just get past your assignments and solve them for you. I don't have much clue of the exam structure and stuff like that. I'm an external person who comes to do this. So you can ask those people if it's going to be only programs or only, or there will be some MCQs as well. You can ask them. I think there might be some programs like this. This is all part of understanding your logic, right? So again, please, I know because the course is ending, everyone is having exam on the mind. It's very good. But please don't just study for exam. That's another like one request I have. You can think about exam now because I know that course is ending. You have few days, few weeks left for exam. So you'll have that in your mind. But yeah, don't be very stressed about the exam also. If there is no response, try mailing the prof or something if you can. That might help better, or mail the NPTEL support team directly. That might help. We are not told anything about the exam. If I knew something, I would have told you by now. I don't know. So that's why. You can also check online if there are any discussion about last year's exam or pattern. There might be something like that. If someone has discussed those things, maybe a similar thing is followed. But seeing that the assignments and programs are of a certain kind, I think maybe some similar questions might be there. So there might be some combination of, I'm just telling you the most general thing. I don't know what is going to happen. I'm just giving a lot of disclaimers. I don't want anyone to come and say that you said it was like this and it came out like that. So I don't know. I'm just clarifying again. But yeah, maybe best thing is to like mail them or something directly. In any case, you just understand what you're learning, understand the logic, do your assignment sincerely. We'll see what happens. Okay. You can check online, and this is a very popular course. I'm sure someone or other would have, discussed the exam, or you know how to find these things better than me. So you can check this out. Let's go to the next question because it's already 7:20. We have to go to the programs also. We are kind of behind. Let's postpone discussion of exam for later. So this is another thing which is doing, what is this doing? You just identify what is this doing and return what is the count of 2024 comma 1. There are no answers yet, or am I lagging? I don't see any answers in the chat yet. Okay, let's try to identify then what is this code doing. Okay, one person says 23. Very good. What others? There is an answer in the chat. So what is this code doing? Lakshya, what is this code doing? How did you get 23?
It is counting the weekdays in the month.
Yes, it's counting the, not counting the days, but counting the weekdays, right? 0 to 4. So as we all just saw, weekday of 0 is Monday. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's counting the weekdays in a month, not counting 5 and 6, which are Saturday and Sunday. So basically, like counting the working days, if you want to think like that. Okay, so let's try to go to the solution. The answer is actually 23. You can try. I told you Monday, January 1st was a Monday. So you can go and you can count Monday to Friday, Monday to Friday. How many such Monday to Friday were there? And that will give you the solution. Okay, I'm just going a little fast because we have to go to at least two programs we have to do today. Okay, good. Vikram got 23. So let's go to the programming assignments now. I hope there were no more questions in that part. Okay. So here's the first question for today. I'll give you 10 minutes. Try to write this. So here basically you're asked to write the following functions. They want you to write three functions. You can just write the functions which are factors which accepts a positive number as argument and returns the set of all factors of n. So you know what factors are. Factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4, for example. What a number is divisible by. Common factors accepts two integers, a and b, and returns the set of common factors of the two numbers. This function should make use of factors. So in this function, you should call factors, okay? And factors up to is accepts a positive integer n as an argument, and it returns a dictionary whose keys are integer and values are sets. Each integer in the range 1 to n points inclusive, is a key of D. Okay. Values corresponding to key is a set of all factors of key. So basically, suppose I give factors up to 4, then it should give me 1 as the key, and then the value will be the factors of 1, 2, and then the factors of 2, 3, and then the factors of 3, 4, and then the factors of 4. So 1 will be 1, of course, 2 will be 1 and 2, 3 will be 1, 2, and 3. Sorry, what am I saying? 3 will be 1 and 3, 4 will be 1, 2, and 4. Okay, so it should return a dictionary in this configuration. The keys are the numbers and the values are the uh, factors of each number. So in both of the second factors, sorry, both of the second functions, you should use the first function that you defined, which is factors, and then run it for some typical cases to see if it's doing. Okay, so try to like write this. So this is basically, yeah, basically the idea is that sometimes you have to do a task, and that task you can write as a function, but you might find that that function itself can be written, some of the tasks within the function itself can be written as its own function. So for example, this factors, it can be called in two different functions, right? So we wrote a general function for finding factors, and that itself was used in two different functions itself. So try to, it is basically that kind of programming. Instead of writing the same code again in common factors and factors up to, you're just taking that code, putting it in a different function name so that you can call it when you need in different contexts. Okay, so I'll give you maybe 10 minutes. At 7:40 we can discuss the answer. Please try it out. Please sit and try the logic. If even if you don't get the full question, you can at least try it. Hmm. Are you guys working out the question? Please raise your hand if you are working on the question. Okay, good. All of you, please try. These will be important for you. You know, when you write programs, only you find out how much you know and how much you don't know. So try this out. Did anyone get the solution or partly got the solution? Okay, we can maybe slowly go to the solution. Are you guys still working out? Okay, I'll slowly go to the solution. If you're still working on it, please continue to do so, but I'll just discuss so that we can do all the questions which are decided for this. Okay. So, as they was said, you have to write three functions, and the second two functions have to actually use factors, right? That was the way that it was said. Okay, so it's not very difficult. As you can see, you know, we are just defining factors, for I in range 1 to n. So, n plus 1, because a number is always a factor of itself. So, we always have to check the number also. We are just checking if n mod I is equal to 0, and mod I, if any of you don't know, modulus just takes the remainder. So if remainder is 0, you know that it's a factor. So that's what is done here. In common factors, you're doing factors of A and factors of B. And one interesting thing is when you use something called set, set is basically like if you've learned in mathematics what is set. Can see my screen, right? Okay, yeah. So you can see that I have highlighted set. So set is a special class in which you can, get a set object. So when you have a set, you can do functions of set on it, like union, intersection, if you have heard these things. So that's why you can just give FA of intersection. Intersection will return all the elements that are in both sets. Of course, this is one way to do it, but if you don't want to use set or you want to use a tuple or something, you can then just check in FA and FB which are the common things. You can make loop, and with the loop you can go through the elements and check which are the common elements. That can also be done. Okay, so just this is how common factors is done. For factors up to, you're just calling factors every time to get it. So here you can see that I just wrote a little bit of code so that we can test all of them. So let's try to test it. So here, which expression you'd like to evaluate? So let's first try with factors to see if it's working. If I give factors of say 16, then you can see that it gives me 1 into 16, which is 16, 2 into 8 is 16, and also 4 square is 16. Now, if I want to find common factors, then I have to enter two numbers. I suppose I entered 16 and also 24. Then you can see that the common factors are 8, 1, of course, 2, and 4, which are all the common factors of 16 and 24, right? And finally, if I want to do factors up to, and if I enter say 5, then you can see that for 1 it's 1, for 2 it's 1 and 2, for 3 it's 1 and 3, for 4 it's 1, 2 and 4, 5 it's 1 and 5. So this is how the expressions work. Okay, so you can see that all of the functions work properly. Here we have used set, so that part was easy for the intersection part. Does anyone have any questions in in this uh, this solution? Does anyone have any questions? I think it's a straightforward solution. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, someone's typing. Okay, no, ma'am. Great. Fantastic. So let's go to the next question then. If you have any questions, please ask me. But I want to at least do, I had 5 questions today, but let's try to do at least two or three so that we can finish off. And of course, as usual, even if I'm not able to have time to solve it in class, I upload all the slides along with the solutions in my Google Drive. So let me just quickly give you the link for that because people might miss out. This is my email ID. You can mail me throughout the week if you have any questions. And this is my web page. In my web page, you will find all of the links for all the slides, also the recordings, and also in the Google Drive where the slides are, there only you will find all the programs also. So it's really everything is being uploaded. So please make use of it properly. Okay. So I'm going back to the programming assignment. Here's the second question. So clockwise rotation of a list consists of taking the last element and moving it to the beginning of a list, right? So here, for example, if we rotate the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we get 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, if we rotate, we get 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Your task is to perform k rotations of a list. So here we have performed 2 rotations. 5 went to the top, then again 4 went to the top. So your task is to perform k rotations of a list. Okay. The first line of input contains a non-entity, blah, blah, blah. This is just because it was last year's program. But yeah, basically get a list of numbers as input, get K as the other input. K tells you how many rotations you have to do. And you have to perform K rotations and print it as a sequence of comma separated integers. So I think this is also interesting program that you guys can all try. So please try it. I'll give you a few minutes. Please try it out. I always give you time, even though I have 5 programs. I can just now discuss all 5 programs in a row and leave you. I don't want to do that, because I think that even if we are not having time to discuss some programs, if you try the programs, it's much more valuable to you. As always, try even the programs you don't have time for. Please, like, download the Python files and the slides, look at the problem statement, try to solve it on your own. If you get stuck at any point during the solution, please mail me. I'll happy to have a discussion with you. The only mails that I'm not very happy to receive are when you ask me how to solve your assignment, because that is not what I'm going to do. But if you have any questions with the slides or anything like that, please mail me and I can very well clarify that for you. Okay. Are you all working on it? Did anyone get the solution or anything? Or at least the logic? Have you guys got the logic of how to do it? Okay, I'll give you a couple more minutes, then we'll discuss the solution. Or maybe we can discuss the solution so that we can do one more question before the class ends. Because that question is also very interesting. Maybe I can just show you the question and the answer. So let's I hope you guys are working on it. If you are working on it, please continue to do so. But let me just quickly pull up the solution I have. So as you can see here, the point is that we have to take the last element and we have to put it at the beginning. Okay. So how can you access the last element of a list? You can access in many ways, but one very easy way is that you can just put pop, right? Which you do in your stacks if you have learned that. So here basically you are pop, if you give a list and you give pop, if I give a list L is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I give L dot pop, you can see that it returns 5, right? So here basically what I'm doing is I'm taking 5 and I'm putting it in the index 0. So insert basically it takes the index where you want to insert and it takes the value that you want to insert. So it just takes the last one and inserts it at the beginning. And similarly, if for k times it does it because k rotations might be there, right? You can do it in many ways. Instead of L dot pop, you can access the last element using, for example, L of minus 1 gives you the, oh, oh, because I've already popped the list, sorry. So if I give L of this, if I give L of minus 1, that also gives 5. The advantage of using pop is that it also removes the last element from the end, right? If I'm using this L of minus 1 method, then I have to manually remove the element from the end as well. But yeah, I'm just saying, as with everything in programming, you can do it, something in a lot of ways. So this is just like it removes the element and puts it in the beginning in the same function. That's why. Okay. So let's just exit. Sorry. Let's just try running this program. So let's give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's put 4 rotations. So you can see that in the first rotation, it becomes 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it becomes 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Then 3 goes to the beginning, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Goes back to 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So finally it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So actually, if we do, because there are 5 elements, if we do 5 rotations, it will just come back to the original list. So that's very nice. So I hope you all understood this question. Which last line? Which is the last line? This one. Print. So this is basically, it just prints it as a comma separated list, right? So you can see that we are just trying to join string of x, which means that in x there are 5 elements. Every x, it takes x and then prints it along with a comma. That's what this does. So join is a way to join to concatenate any number of strings. So with a comma, it joins all the lists. That's what it does. So for all x in the list, it takes x and then adds a comma. So that's what's happened. Yes, you can do plus for concatenation as well. This just does it in one line. But yeah, you can do it in x, or you can just print the list also. Instead of doing this, you can also do printel. That just prints the list. The reason this is given is because I think in your assignment questions, when you submit the input and the output, it has to be in some particular format, right? So that's why this kind of function comes up. But in general, yeah, you can just print L as well. I think you know, right? In that console, it has to be in some particular format. So that's why this is given. You can also use plus for concatenation. You can use whatever you want. That is just for the formatting. Okay. Okay, I think there are no other questions in this question. I just wanted to discuss this question also because it's quite interesting. So because it's 7:50, I'll just explain the question and go to the answer. But please think about how to do it. I'll give you a few minutes to just think about how to do the question. So let's try to understand the question first. It looks like a long question. So consider a spiral of semicircles as given in this picture. We start at a point P0, which has this coordinate L, 0 on the x-axis, and the first arm of the spiral ends at P1, which has coordinate r, 0. The second arm of the spiral, which is this one from P1 to P2, starts at P1, which is r comma 0, and it ends at P2. Okay. P2 is basically the center of the first arm. So this is basically L plus R by 2. The coordinate of this will be L plus R by 2. This process is now continued. Now we are taking a spiral from P2 to P3, and P3 is the midpoint of P2 and P1. Right? Finally, the fourth arm is taken from P3 to P4. P4 is the midpoint of P2 and P3. Does everyone understand this picture? You're drawing a spiral, but each spiral is made of many semicircles. So first you're going from P0 to P1. Then P1, you're going to the midpoint of P0 and P1. From P2, you're going to the midpoint of P1 and P2. From P3, you're going to the midpoint of P2 and P3. This is the idea. Does everyone understand? Does everyone understand this question? Okay, good. So now your function is, or your idea is, you have to write two functions: spiral iterative and spiral recursive, each of which accepts three arguments, which is left, the left coordinate or the x coordinate of P0, right, which is the x coordinate of P1. So basically your starting points, it has to accept the starting points L and R, and N, which is a number of arms in the spiral. So for example, in this picture, we have four arms, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have four arms, and finally we are ending with P4. Both functions should return the x coordinate of Pn. Pn is the point at which the nth arm of the spiral ends. So for example, here Pn is P4 because there are four spirals and it ends at P4. So it should return to me what is the value of P4, right? The x coordinate only. So for example, x coordinate of P0 is L, P1 is R, P2 will be L plus R by 2, and so on. So as you can see from the names, you're supposed to write a function using iteration, and you're also supposed to write a function using recursion. Iteration just means your regular, looping and stuff like that. Recursion means when you use a function to define itself, as you have already seen before. So let's try to look at the solution ourselves. Already I've told you, like, basically we have to keep dividing by 2. We have to keep taking the average, right? Because that gives you what is the next point. For example, P0, P1, next point is middle of these two. P2, then P3 is middle of these two. Like that, we have to keep calculating. So let's look at the solution. I'm just going to the solution because already it's 7:54. I wanted to discuss this. Last two programs are quite simple. You guys please look at it yourself. But let's try to see only this program for now. 3. So as you can see, there are two different functions, spiral recursive and spiral iterative. They both take three arguments, left, right, and n. And you can see that if n is equal to 0, that means just return left. Because if there are no spiral arms, we are just ending up at this point, right? We are just ending up here only. We are not moving anywhere. So the final point is also this. If there is only one spiral, then we are going from L to R, and that's it. So we have to just return R, whatever is the right coordinate, right? If it is more than 0 or 1, if it is not 0 or 1, then only we have to calculate. So you can see that for it returns sorry, spiral recursive of left right n minus 1 plus spiral recursive of left right n minus 2 by 2. So what is this actually doing? Because this is a recursive function, we are defining the spiral in terms of itself, right? So here it's just taking the average, or it's taking the midpoint of the previous two the previous 2 points, right? Okay, so here basically you're taking the average. So if it is n, if I want to calculate where is P2, I have to take P0 plus P1 by 2, correct? So that means n minus 1 and n minus 2. Same logic applies here. As you always know, whenever we define a recursive function, we should have some base case. Otherwise, it will keep subtracting and go to infinity. It will never end. Here, our base cases are n equal to 0 and n equal to 1. Okay. So whenever it reaches n equal to 0 and n equal to 1, it returns a certain value. So our function is fine. So does everyone understand the recursive part? Any doubts? I don't see any doubts. We can go to the iterative part. So this is using recursion where we have defined the function in terms of itself. But even without using recursion, we can get this as well, right? So basically, you can see that here what we are doing is every time we are updating left and right. Okay, so here you can see that n is equal to 0, and if n is equal to 1, return right. This I already explained. Here what we're doing is for the number of spiral arms, every time we are updating the left and right to be the new right and left. Okay, so here you can see that um, after this spiral, now the left is this, right is this, right? And then we're taking the midpoint. After that, the left is this, right is this, we're taking the midpoint. Then the left is this, right is this, we're taking the midpoint. So on, right? Left, right, left, right, left, right, like that. We're changing the starting and finishing points every time. So the difference between iterative and recursive method, if you ask in terms of result, there is no difference. It both calculates the same thing. The difference is that one uses recursion. What is recursion is when you define a function in terms of others itself, whereas one uses iteration, which is just repeating something in a loop. Here you can see that in this function, we are defining that function in terms of itself. We are not doing that in the iterative process. In the iterative process, instead of calling the function again, we are just updating. That is the thing. Output is the same. This is to give you an idea that every recursive function you can write as iterative function, and maybe the other way around is also true. Certain iterative functions you can write as recursive function. It's always good to have an idea at how to write things so that you know how to represent them. So the iterative one just updates the left and right coordinate every time, whereas in the recursive one, you're just taking the midpoint of the n minus 1, n minus 2th point, and it just goes back and calculates. So we can also, we can even check it also by doing this. So if I write spiral recursive 0, comma 1, comma 2, can see that it returns for me what is 0.5, right? 0.5 is the final value that I get. Okay, so this is the idea, a recursive function and an iterative function for calculating what this is. Does everyone understand this question and the solution? Any doubts? Any doubts in any of the things? Basically, we're just taking the midpoint. We have to keep taking the midpoint for all the spiral arms. Okay, I don't think there are any doubts. In that case, I will just say that there are two more questions that I had just put in, which are more related to your calendar and stuff like that. They are both very simple. As usual, I will put the answers in the Google Drive. All 5 programs will be there in the Google Drive. Please go and check it. And all as always, please try it yourself and then look at the solution, because that will be a good way for you to learn it. And also, I can also make mistakes. So if you ever find any mistakes in any of these programs, please always mail me and I will always update it. Okay, so I think that's it for this week. If there is no more agenda, we can end the class. I'm just showing my website and this as well. Drive link is in the website, which I had shared before, but I will share it again. If you go to the website, you can find it here. And here you can find all the weeks and the programs of each week as well. So you can just go and check it out and it should be fine. Okay, any other questions? I've sent the link also. Any other questions? Okay, if not, we can end the class for today. Thank you for joining. So next week will be our final class. If before that class, if you want to discuss something in particular, as usual, we'll be doing our week 12 question answers and also the programs. But because it's the final class, if you want something specific to be discussed from any of the weeks, please mail me. Mail me by this Friday. Okay, so that I can make, when I make the slides, when I prepare slides over the weekend, I can include that input. Okay, so once again, I'm saying next week is our final class. So if you have any particular topic from any of the weeks or any program, any doubt you have to be cleared, please mail me by Friday. I will try to put it in the slide. And along with the week 12 material, we can discuss that also. We can put aside a few minutes depending on how many questions like that come up. There are no questions, we'll just go ahead with our usual week 12 schedule. Is this clear to everybody? So by Friday, okay, if you have any such agenda, please mail me by Friday. Okay, I think that's it from my side. So let's end the meeting here. Thanks for joining once again. Thank you. And yeah, have a nice rest of your week and all the best for your exam and all that. So, when is your exam? When is the exam exactly? November 2nd. Okay, so you have roughly you have a month. So, you have more than enough time. So please go through all the material that has been done by me and the other PMRFTAs, also the NPTEL course instructors, everything. If you have any doubts, you can mail me. Uh, yeah, so but next week will be our last session formally, but you can mail me in between. As far as I'm free, I will write back to you. Okay. All right. So let's end the meeting then. Thanks for joining. Bye everyone.